Hey guys, it's Miss Delcom. I'm going to be going over the next 4 questions in your packet. So starting with question number 40. Aiden asked a group of students to choose their favorite type of music from the choices of rock, hip hop, and country. The results of the survey are shown in the graph below. Based on the graph, how many students in the class of 360 students would be expected to choose hip hop or rock as their favorite type of music? Okay, so we have a graph here. All right, remember what I've been telling you. Whenever you see a graph, go ahead and label how many each one of the bars is worth. So rock is worth 20, hip hop is 40, and country is 30. All right, so looking at our question, we need to figure out, well, how many people out of 360 students, so that's important. So out of 360 students chose hip hop or rock as their favorite type of music. Okay, well, looking at this number right here, this doesn't total 360. So let's figure out how many people actually were surveyed the first round. So if we take 20, 30, and 40 and add them together, we get 90 people. So our first round was 90. We're comparing our people, and we're comparing hip hop and rock. So the first round, there were 90 people that were surveyed. Okay. How many people chose rock and hip hop? We'll look back at your chart graph here. You have 40 and 20, so that makes 60 people. So 60 out of 90 people chose hip hop or rock. Well, we need to figure out 360 students or people. Okay, so that's why I put it down here, because this is the students and this is a student. So this is a people and this is a people. All right, so my question is, well, how do I go from 90 to 360? Well, 9 times 4 gives me 36. So 90 times 4 gives me 360. Excuse me. Whatever we do to the top, we must do to the bottom. So what would be my missing number there? All right, that's how we would set up and work number 40. Number 42. A restaurant offered a cooking class on 24 out of 30 days in November. What decimal is equivalent to the fraction of days in November that the classes were offered at the restaurant? Okay, so we need to make a decimal, but we have a fraction going on. So we know 24 out of 30 days was when the cooking classes were offered. So we're comparing two things. We're comparing our days. Days is at the bottom. Days in November. And then we have our cooking class. Okay. So we know 24 out of 30 days. Well, looking at that fraction, I can simplify. I can get it to have a denominator of 10 by dividing by 3. So 30 divided by 3 gives me 10. 24 divided by 3 gives me 8. So I have 8 tenths. How would you write 8 tenths as a decimal? Now, on this one, if you put it in and you do the correct one, but you don't put a 0 in front, or maybe you forget a 0 in the bottom, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. Okay? That's number 42. Let's look at number 6 on this one. An engine is operating at 25% of its full power. Which number line shows the point that's represented? Okay, so we have, if you look at these number lines, they are all not the same. Okay, do you see how they're all broken up into different parts here? That they're all not the same. So first off, I want you to count the spaces. So let's look at F. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's broken up into 10 spaces. So this one would be 1 tenth, 2 tenths, 3 tenths, 4 tenths, and so on. Okay. If we look at letter G, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 spaces that's broken into. So we have 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, and we're going to stop right there because we're just kind of looking and seeing where the dot is, what fraction it's at. Let's look at H. It's broken into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces. So this one would be 1/5. This would be 2/5. This would be 3/5. And if we look at J, J has a lot of spaces here. So let's look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's broken into twelfths. So this is 1/12, 2/12, 3/12, 4/12, and 5/12. Okay, I'm going to come over here to the side, and I'm going to write what fraction it's on. So this is at 2/10. This is at 2/8. This is at 2/5. And this is at 4/12. Okay. It's asking what 25%. Now remember, bing, 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 25% is a benchmark fraction. So go back and look into your red math folder and look and see what fraction 25% is. 25% is the same as saying 25 cents. And 25 cents is 1/4. It's 1/4. So we need to figure out which one is equal to 1/4. I'm going to show you two ways that you could do this. You can simplify each one of them and figure out which one gives you 1/4. So simplify 2/10. Simplify, reduce, guys. Or you can see, okay, is this equal to 1/4? Okay, cross multiply. That gives me 10. That gives me 8. Are those the same? Nope. 2 and 8. So this one's not equal. Is that equal to 1/4? 8 times 1 is 8. 4 times 2 is 8. Are those two equal? Let's continue on. 2/5. Is that equal to 1/4? 5 times 1 is 5. 4 times 2 is 8. Is 8 and 5 the same? And 4/12. Is that the same as saying 1/4? Well, 4 times 4 is 16, and 12 times 1 is 12. Are those two the same? So which is the only number line that gave me the same number? All right, number 7. You need to look and get your red folders if you're doing this one and look at your customary measurement of volume. Or you can get your agenda books into the math reference sheet on your agenda books. A can contains 24 fluid ounces of fruit juice. How many pints of fruit juice does the can contain? All right, so we're looking for fluid ounces. Well, let's look at what we know. We need to know how much is 12 fluid ounces. So we know 8 ounces is equal to 1 cup. And 2 cups is equal to 1 pint. So if we set this up as a ratio, we have, well, if 1 pint, we need to figure out how much pint. So we know that 1 pint is 2 cups. And if 2 cups is 8 ounces, so 1 pint is 16 ounces. So how many pints is in 24 ounces? We need to figure out how many pints that is. So remember, when we have our unknown and it's a cross, we need to divide. So we need to divide. How many times can 16 go into 24? So we have 24 ounces here. And we're going to divide it by 16. So 16 can go into 24 one time. Gives me 16. Subtract. I have 14. 14 minus 6 is 8. So I have 1 whole and 8/16 left. And 8/16 reduces to what fraction? Okay, that's the next 4, and I'll do a video of the following 4.